everybody. Welcome to Chit Chat with Ella. We are your hosts,
Ella.
and Umu, and we are happy to discuss with you today on another very important topic on our fourth episode. And the topic is on this idea of beauty and what one defines as what beauty means for you, and how basically just how you see beauty for yourself, how you define that for yourself, how you live it for yourself, and how all of that kind of comes into the perspective of the society and how society views beauty and the beauty standard in society. So I'm just going to let Ella. Do you already have something like what?
I think when you talk about beauty, like for right here and now, I think for me is defining my own beauty. I think we had kind of mentioned it briefly like a few weeks ago, where you were surprised that I had like kind of challenges with how I viewed myself in terms of how beautiful like I felt I was, and how you thought I was beautiful and like I was confident. And yeah, I feel that there's this kind of nuance. I don't know how to say it. And since talking to you, we can go a bit more into that. I'm kind of really honing in on like where the disconnect is, because it's like something
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think about it always, but I do think about it like when it pops up. And when it pops up, it's not like I think
Mm-hmm.
myself beautiful. It's like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay. Like for me, that's how I see myself. And yeah, for example, parts
Mm-hmm.
of your body you don't like and you want to work on. But I'm kind
Yeah.
of so over the last couple of weeks, what I have been doing for myself in terms of how I don't know I want to exist in this world, in terms of how I view myself and my beauty, is like I did like a video for myself, kind of looking at my body as a whole, not like naked or anything, just like
Mm-hmm.
just reflecting on that.
Oh my
And
god.
of celebrating it, and and kind of celebrating it in its, I don't know, in its form, without kind of this, because there's always a yardstick, at least like since like you're growing up, like at least for me, like I remember when I was growing up, somebody thought I looked like a boy. And I think that kind of has stuck with me. And like other experiences, for example, people's perception of my breast,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, how I walk, my ass, and also not like my ass is not comparable to other women's asses. Or me, I think in terms of how I'm trying to define beauty for myself, I guess I've come to this point where I'm trying, it's that this body is sacred. So I am kind of celebrating it and taking care of it. And I think in taking care of it, then what is best within it will come out. So it means taking care of myself, going to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and also just being
Yeah.
appreciative of what I have, because as you said, the grass is always greener on the other side. You think like you don't have it, and then you go and talk to the other person. The other person is like, yeah, me too, I have problems.
Exactly.
So that, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of crossing out. I don't know. It's not like bad, but for me, I'm like, okay, what do I find beautiful? I find beauty in women who are confident. I find beauty in women who can move their bodies in ways, like people who do calisthenics, gymnastics, people who do like martial arts. So that's like for me, like since I was a child, because there's that like always wowed me. And there was the other aspect of like Disney women, or like women who have like hourglass shape, or yeah, and that's like the standard
Mm-hmm.
of beauty. Kind of okay, that, and I'm not that. And there's a disconnect between that, because I'm not that. I'm like, okay, I'm not beautiful, but then that is not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily true. And then for me, that was not even what excited me. It was just a norm that I accepted as what is beautiful. And what I have found excites me is, as I've said, like like just having such a dexterity in moving the body, and also like re-evaluating like how I see myself, that I'm a sacred, like religious, I'm the body of God. And so it means I must care for it, because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't care for it, it will like go south. You could go different places, and also the health. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
at, and we can talk about the different things that come up. But for me, that's where I'm at in terms of like
Yeah.
how beauty now. Yeah.
We've talked about this topic a couple of times, and as I
Yeah.
was telling you, for me, I've always kind of been in every aspect. I've always been in like my own world, so
Mhm.
I haven't always been aware of am I beautiful. I mean, being exactly like being aware and asking myself whether I feel beautiful. Am I beautiful? What is beauty? Of course, I watch a lot of movies. I social media. I see these beauty standards. Like you see someone, even if they're like everybody's beautiful, yeah, but there are like some beauty that everybody's like this is the standard of beauty.
Like it's clear and it's
Skinny,
obvious.
you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
flat stomach, or
Mhm.
sometimes you're light skin. You have a
Yes.
lot of hair. And And then in all of that, then everybody starts picking and choosing then what works for them. Otherwise, there's always like that standard. And so I've seen those things. I see them online. I see them in movies. But for me personally, as you're explaining, I've been made to feel aware of my body in different environments. And one that stood out a lot was when we were at Union. That's basically how I made friends.
Yeah.
I started making friends at Union because I wasn't really talkative. But when I walk into the room, like everything is there. I'm not gonna say stuff,
Yes.
but you know what I mean. And then people are like, "Oh damn, Umu, oh damn," and I'm like, "Okay." And then I started to be, I'm conscious exactly the word is now where like I started to feel conscious about it. But then somehow in that consciousness there was another unconsciousness, which is that I somehow started to feel unconsciously start to feel this need to hide that asset. I will call that asset that I have. And yeah, my and that was I saw that later on in how I started to dress, how I started to cover like wear baggy pants instead of tight jeans and stuff like that, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to walk in the room and always be the topic of discussion. Like I know I have it, but like why does it always have to be talked about? It's tiring.
Yes.
But yeah, because you have anyway. But at some point like few years, I would say about 2 3 years ago, when I was teaching in France, I remember like being in front of the student and teaching was quite challenging. But that's exactly the moment where I was like, you know what, this is my body, I come in full package, and I'm going to wear it the way I feel like wearing it. So starting from there, I started to be more conscious. I started to start defining what beauty means for me. It means like wearing anything that I feel says in any moment. Of course, different environment, different dress code, I
Yeah.
know, but still like I'm just going to still be me while I'm trying to fit into those different environment.
Yeah. I
Other
can
than
relate.
that, now it's yeah. I know. Other than that, yeah, for me it's I still feel sometimes I don't think I have moments where I feel like I'm not beautiful. I get these moments where I lose myself and for example like gain weight, and then suddenly I realize that oh, I want to lose weight. And it's until when I start to lose weight that I realize that oh my god, I was this big and I wasn't beautiful. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like it comes to pass before I realize that. Because I'm like I look back at the pictures when I had on weight, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't look that good. But in those moments when I was taking those pictures, I was feeling like the most beautiful person in the world. Like
Yeah.
I was
On
just
top of the
taking
world.
them.
That's
And
good.
then
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then I
That's a
look
good.
back, I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me that I was getting weight and I was looking like, But that doesn't mean that being adding on weight or it means you're not beautiful. But I'm talking, especially like this
And
discussion, we're
also,
talking based on our
know,
own experience,
if it was
obviously.
you or somebody else who had brought up, like, it's not necessarily about, it's like how you work with the body, like the confidence with which you work it. And I think
Hmm.
it's all based on like your narrative
Exactly.
and the perspectives that you have in your head. For example, you know how you talk about like how you were
Hmm.
self-conscious of your butt. And for me, we talk about it.
Hmm.
More often than not, I've always been subconscious of my breast because my breast is bigger than the average. And when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
I used to wear bra and then it got like heavy, like big, big. Now they're like, oh, you have to start wearing bra. And I was like, but that was something. And then I became self-conscious. I became aware of my breast. And there are other narrative that are
Hmm.
associated like kind of that makes me aware. It's like, oh, like if you have big boobs, you have to wear bra because if not, your boobs are like hanging and heavy.
Hmm.
Or like if you're going, like for example, I
And
used
then
to
so
run.
what?
Yes, exactly, and so what? But there's this narrative about kind of. I think I don't know how to form it. It's like we are always kind of you are born into a world and like you are born with kind of how things are supposed to be. And I think it's hard if
Hmm.
you don't fit into how things are supposed to be because you are aware. I don't know. And I think
Yeah.
it's for women too with beauty. I think it becomes very glaring because it's like, oh, this is what the standard of beauty is, and this is what people are supposed to be attracted to, and like you are aware that you don't fit into that. So for example, you talk about weight, there's also that aspect of weight. So it's like, oh, your body has to look like this, and also, oh, your body has to be this weight, you have to be
Hmm.
toned, you have to be this, and we can even talk about hair. Like, there's so many kind of facets of it, and it's like, oh, you're always kind of juxtaposed to like this yardstick that you have to measure to. And I think so when you talk about
Hmm.
weight, like, it's not like you felt on top of the world even though you have weight. It's like the narrative that you have in your head, not necessarily. And so you are able to work with that evidence. And as long as, like, for me, I think as long as, like, I've gotten to the point where I'm trying to get to a point where I am comfortable and confident in my body, like in how it is. So then it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like I'm going to obviously be aware of like what society says, but then I know for me this is what works for me. And I think that is
Mm-hmm.
where like I'm hoping to get in terms of how I view beauty. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but speaking of that, what would be your advice for people that are trying to gain that confidence? I mean, it's not like universal thing. It's, as you said,
yeah.
it's like for you. But what would be like that one thing that, yeah, that one advice that you can give someone that can help them gain this confidence in themselves and define what beauty means for them, or something like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to
What
reflect
would
and
it
kind
be?
of think. I think for me, it's like you have to go inside, really reflect. Like you know how we talked about, like kind of stepping outside of your body, kind of looking at like the whole context of things and looking at yourself within that context, and like trying to
Mm-hmm.
understand where you exist in that context, but what will bring you peace and happiness. Because I don't know, I feel like if you are trying to go with like whatever, it's like if you are like whatever going and it's not really making you happy and it's making you discontent, then like what's the point? I think it's like kind
Mm-hmm.
of I think more like beauty is kind of like an external thing. I think it's more finding integrity, alignment within yourself. And then like in doing so,
Yeah.
then like the external is there and obviously it's not gonna go away because that's there unless like we as a society kind of change the narrative. But then you can go within and kind of understand like what do you
Mm-hmm.
want for yourself and how do you want to exist in that space? And more importantly, how what kind of existence will make you be in alignment and in peace and contentment with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to, and perhaps that
Yeah.
means like people do BBL. People like it's like more like, and perhaps that works and
Exactly.
to somebody, but like it works. And if it works for you, and like you are actually truly content and like in alignment with yourself, then so be it. But it could be the other way where
Mhm.
like you perhaps I don't know, like go all out and become like like different styles with like leaves in your hair, like whatever like rocks your boat. But yeah, I think that's it. And I think for me, like I'm like on that path of going inside to kind of really identify for me what that would look like where like I'm in alignment, where like if you're in alignment with yourself, it doesn't matter what is happening outside or how people are choosing to define things because you know for yourself that this is what works, this is what make. And for me,
Mhm.
I think it's leaning towards becoming like as healthy as Fuck as I can be, and like being able to like move my body in ways that like I see others do, and I'm so like in wonder of them. And yeah, getting to that point and feeling like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, like I feel like I want to be able to do that. And yeah, so that's like where I'm going. And perhaps it might change, but that is kind of, but in doing so, like I feel, I don't know, like when I'm going to the gym, I feel like this excitement, I feel this level of confidence. So that's what I would give. I think go in and kind of figure out like, yeah, what, I don't know, being in alignment, and that perhaps will help you in defining what beauty
Yeah.
would mean for you.
I mean,
What do you think?
for me,
Yeah.
I would also say a very quite the same thing that you said, and it's 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 basically like how you view yourself that's is more important. But then even that one also is quite complicated. How do you reach where you have confidence in how you view yourself? It's
Yeah.
like this
Yes. And it's
so
not
many
like
shells whenever you
could be
get
like a defiance. Yeah, like oh, like like everybody's saying this. I want
Mhm.
to like go the opposite way, but it's not really like in alignment with how you really want to be. Maybe like you want to put makeup on, and that like like
Exactly.
how we talk about like for example, we are talking about like how they expect women to cook, and like no, we don't want to cook because we want to do this, but you actually enjoy cooking. So I think finding out like yeah,
Exactly.
what,
And yeah, I
yeah,
mean, what you said, and it could be that for you, the standard of beauty, like how like being skinny, having makeup, having this type of hair is what you find as beautiful. Then please go ahead. But all we are trying to say, or like at least what I think is, you have to be aware. You have to be conscious about what you're feeding yourself and where your confidence is coming from, or where your insecurities are coming from. Because sometimes it's there are a lot of things in our life that we are conscious about, but many of them we are so unconscious about it, and then
mhm.
we just find ourselves falling through the path, and then yeah, becoming depressed or becoming very having extra amount of insecurities while you don't need it. Because when you step out,
Yes,
people are like, "Oh my God, look at this girl, she's so beautiful," but you inside of your home, inside of your body, you're like, oh my God, I am like the worst looking person. But compared to what? Even talking about
Exactly.
beauty, like what are we comparing it to be like, this is this and this is that? It's just
But there is
everyone's
it's not
concept of
we can't
what
be
is.
nonchalant about that though, Umu, because I think society has created a standard
Mm-hmm.
of what beauty is, like in terms of what a beautiful woman
Yeah.
is supposed to be like. And it's like a reality we have to face. I don't think we can say, oh, like, I feel like we can't shrug it under the rug,
I get.
because since growing up, like there's always a standard of beauty. Like you have to be, and it shifts a bit. Like you have to be lean, and like it has changed. Like lean, whatever. And now it's like
Mm-hmm.
curvaceous. Like you gotta get that nyash. You gotta get like the fronts. Like like extra extra. But like there's always, depending on like
Yeah.
what time frame you are born into, that exists. And so I think being aware of that is not bad. But I think you brought up a point that I really like want to hammer home. It's like being super mindful, because if you don't understand where things are coming from, and you're like, the insecurities and stuff like that, how can you address it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's also once you are aware of what you want. If, for example, you have some weight, and for you, you really want to reach that standard beauty of I want to be skinny, and we all come from somewhere. Especially if you were skinny in the past, it's possible. So it's either you put in your mind that you want to do it and you give it all the energy, yeah, which doesn't always have to be going to the gym. I
Hmm.
am evidence of that.
You are a walker.
My weight always like, yeah, my weight always fluctuates. I've been like really, and then here, and then people are like, what's happening? And it's all because I'm like, okay, not only like beauty wise but health wise, obviously. I'm like, I want to lose weight, and I put on my mind on it, and then I work for it. If you want to
Mhm.
lose weight and you spend all your night eating banku and eating wache, it's not gonna work. And then you end up complaining, and then you end up being depressed. Oh my God, I'm so. Oh, talking about your cheesecake or
Hey,
eating
Umu, don't put me
cheesecake.
on the spot here like this. Because yourself.
Sorry.
Oh yes, but it's true.
But
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, it happens to me because I mean, I'm saying this because this happened during COVID time. Oh my God, I lost my mind trying to lose weight, and I will exercise, I'll eat, I'll drink a flat tummy tea, and then right after that, I'll go and eat to. I mean, I will go and eat banku or rice or something, and then I wonder why am I not losing weight? Oh my God, I can never lose weight. I can never be beautiful. Beautiful. I am terrible. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
doesn't work. So it's like, it's like steps, as we say, being conscious about it, kind of be mindful about like the way you're thinking, the way you're viewing yourself, and then coming up with a plan, obviously. And it's also fine if it doesn't reach there. But if you put your mind to it that you want to go with the standard of
Yes.
beauty, then it is
Yeah.
either you go with it or not, and not allow it to drain you down and just make you spend so much money, lose a lot of time in, and resources, and sometimes even be bad for your own health. Because I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things to lose weight, Ella. You don't know. You don't want to know. I've
I
done
think we
terrible
are on the
things.
other end.
So
But
like things
when you
like
were
that.
talking, there was something that you said, and I think we had mentioned it. I think we had talked about it yesterday. You have to try your best to understand your mind and the mechanisms that take place, because it's like, oh, you want to
Yeah.
lose weight, and then you do, and then you go and do something. It's like there's always like a driver, like a push. There's always something that is pushing like me to eat a cheesecake. Something is in disalignment.
Yeah.
And so I think
Hmm.
it's less, I think if you truly try to understand the disalignment that manifests as different emotions
Hmm.
that cause us to kind of partake in various actions, then you can really like address the root cause while still like working on the symptoms, which is, for example, you having like put on
Exactly.
like, but that's one. And then the other point that you brought up, which is like, I feel like now there's so much science that is coming out there about like what are the most effective kind of high yield ways to kind of care for the body, including like, losing fat or like, gaining muscles. So I think you
Hmm.
just have to like find like someone who's qualified, or like, like look at the trends and patterns,
Exactly.
and then kind of customize it for
Hmm.
yourself in terms of like where you know your weaknesses are, where you know your strengths are. And then, as you said, if you put your mind to do
Hmm.
it, get to it. And then if you falter, you get back up. And I think it's more so like the mind. I don't know how to say it. It's like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I wish like like at a point where I'm like, yeah, look at this muscle, and I'll be like, yeah, this is how I did it. But I'm in the journey, and I'm like heading there. So this
Yeah.
is
I
like
mean,
all me just,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but I think you understand your mind and like how the
Yeah.
things that are taking place, and like how like they're driving your emotions and how they're driving certain actions, then you can really hone in on exactly like what is going on. Perhaps is like discontent, perhaps it's like something somebody said to you in the past, like for example, like that made you feel so
Exactly.
self-conscious about part of your body, or like you
Mm-hmm.
met somebody, or like how others are
Yeah.
reacting like around you, and like then you really can
Mm-hmm.
understand, like, then it's not necessarily about like
or
then
or
you
things or things that you have been consuming, like in our
consuming.
last episode,
Yes.
things that you have been consuming a lot, social media or like movies that you're watching. Sometimes you're not conscious. At least as talking about mindfulness, now
Mhm.
I've been trying to be more mindful about my actions or my thoughts after consuming like different things. I'll be watching a lot of movies. I wouldn't know, but then afterward, I'll be like craving for something or wanting something, and I'm like, but
Mhm.
why? And then I remember that it's because I probably saw it. Things are
Mhm.
interconnected if you are mindful about it. I'm not saying that go around trying to connect everything for sure,
Obviously,
but
you go crazy.
when
Oh,
I am on
yeah.
that. I am almost there. But
Shaking.
like it's important to be mindful and to see like where is this coming from. Of course, it
Mm.
can just be that you just want it, and that's also fine. That can also happen. You just want the
Yes,
thing.
yes.
You just want the thing, and that's all
Not
right.
everything
But
is so complicated.
yeah, yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
deep, honestly.
Yes.
Everything we are saying is not like always so deep where you have to go
Yes.
and do rocket science. But yeah, I
Those-
think one of the other
mhm.
aspects we wanted to discuss was how you might be in an environment, you meet someone for the first time who you find so beautiful looking, and then you feel intimidated, and then you kind of have a conversation with the person. You're like, oh, actually, why did I think like this in the first place? I don't know, but that
Yeah.
was
You would say intimidators
something we
actually
wanted to
intimidated
mention,
by
right?
their beauty.
By their beauty, exactly, because it has happened to
Oh,
me. For example, when I was, I'm not
yes.
going to
Yeah.
lie, when I
Yeah.
was in high school, when I was at Union, I mean in
Mhm.
college, I've had situations like that. You see someone, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Not even like, she's so beautiful, you're so intimidated, like, oh my god, I look so terrible. And then you talk to the person and you're like, huh, she just like me. She is, I mean, she's still beautiful, but it's like now the level of beauty that you find the person being kind of lowers. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I
Yeah.
don't know if you have had
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
experience like
I've had
that
that.
or.
Yes, I think it's like women who are beautiful, but also men who are extremely handsome. But before we even get to that, you brought up a point that I
Mm,
thought was good. Like our other points that we made is in order to get to the point where
mm,
you and I feel like you have to create space to reflect. And I wanted to because I feel like that's how you can know
mm-hmm,
you you pause everything around the world and kind of go inwards, and that means being like strategic and creating like moments where like you can actually reflect and kind of see like yourself and the
mm-hmm,
patterns that are taking place, so you can really be able to address it. But in terms getting back to like, yeah, I think it's for both men and women, like women who are super like sexy. I don't know, for me, I just look at them at a distance. And also like I don't know how to say it. Like I see people in their holistic. Like I see you as beautiful, but I don't know. Like there's
mm,
always like ones that I add to a person. Like there's something like you are like
mm.
obviously I'm like wow. Even I compliment women. If women are beautiful, I'll tell you you're beautiful. If you dress nice, I'll tell you like you
I
dress
mean,
nice.
I
Like
am not able to do that.
yes, I do. It's both men and women. If the man has a sexy lip, I'll tell him, God damn, or your eyes, you are
Oh
good.
my god.
So I think sometimes people are surprised, but I feel like I don't know, like because there's so much like I don't know, you have to be this. I feel like if somebody puts in the effort, I want to celebrate the person. Or if somebody has I don't know
Yeah.
something like that stands out, I'm like it stands out. Like it actually looks good to me, and like it's a
Mm-hmm.
beauty. And I guess I have a like I like flowers and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Whatever, I have a partiality for like aesthetics and stuff like that. So yeah, so in terms of like, so I wouldn't say intimidation. I think mine is like wonder, like wow. And then because I think for me in my head
Mm-hmm.
I've put that people are like complex entities. I feel like there's more to the story. There's always yeah. And so but I do acknowledge, like for example, I feel like it's not like, oh wow, that does not mean I don't think like I'm not as beautiful as her. I also think the same. Oh, like this woman is beautiful. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
as beautiful as her. So there's this sense of
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's intimidation per se, maybe perhaps like just a comparison, like oh like a slight
Mm-hmm.
comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Probably bothering a bit
Yeah.
on but not like oh jealousy like like this woman is beautiful, like like it's like
Exactly.
god
No.
like and me
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym 24/7, I'm working for this shit, so yeah, so there's that. And then I think, yeah, so that's kind of how I view it. And then for the men, especially men that like who are super, I think for me it's like I think we talk about it like men who feel themselves like you're handsome, you feel yourself, it doesn't really fly. But if it's like you're
Yeah.
handsome and like you're
Mm-hmm.
humble and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah. And then obviously
Mm-hmm.
there's more. And I think for me it's like the conversation, like, I have to talk to you, like, it's like that's what gets
Yeah.
me feeling. So yes, I don't know if that
Yeah.
answered, like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
mean,
had brought up
exactly, because
like the grass is always green on the other side. You talk to the person and you find out that, oh, like, you think this person is beautiful and like, everything seems good for them, but you're like, oh, my toenail does not look that nice.
mm-hmm.
Oh, oh, and you
Exactly.
and you're also having the same thing. Oh, this is
Exactly.
like for me, and this is like, and then you get to a certain. It's like that, like, how we had. I don't know. You're going to say something, but how we had brought up, like when you're a kid, you look at like your older sister, your older brother. God, this guy is enjoying freedom because, like, they are older, and then you get to be older, and you're like, nah, like this, like
Mhm.
it's like there's always like the rich. So in that
Exactly. Yeah.
context, you find that it's not necessarily like there's like the rich. It's like how can you like really be in the space and really like be in the moment, and
Hmm.
yeah, while obviously the rich, and maybe it's an innate thing where we're always reaching and always striving for more. But
Yeah. I
Mumu,
mean,
what do you think?
I think it's just human nature. We are never satisfied. I mean, in any aspect,
I hope to be
beauty,
satisfied.
worry.
Let's
I mean,
drive. I'm
career,
tired.
everything. And you
I'm
need
tired.
that,
I want to be
because if you're
satisfied.
satisfied, then life gets boring. If you're satisfied, you get what I mean. If there
Yes.
isn't
Maybe
something
not
that you're always
satisfied.
looking forward to.
Maybe peaceful. I feel like there's like you can look forward to things and like kind of strive in the world. Wow, I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's like
yeah.
tension. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like human nature is not being satisfied, in a sense that we are always striving for more. Not necessarily like a negative thing where it's like, oh
Hmm.
my God, I have all of this thing and I'm miserable, I hate it, and I want this. You get what I mean? But it's like we always try to be better, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. We always
Yeah.
try to be better version of ourselves. So
Mhm.
you might reach what you thought was the best version of yourself, but you challenge yourself to even be even
Yes,
better.
there's room for
And
growth. Yeah.
that's
I think growth
that's
is,
basically
is a
like,
better is a better
yeah.
view. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, and in terms of beauty, it's always like that. You are like, yeah. I mean, when we were in high school, we didn't have money, for example, to buy the nicest clothes. So it's like, oh my God, I can't wait. Once I'm able to make money and buy nice clothes, I'm going to be beautiful. And you buy all of those things, and still like, no, if I get money to buy long wigs, and I'll be beautiful. You know what I mean? It's always
Yeah.
like, and you always get them, but the
Yeah.
need keeps increasing and increasing,
Yeah.
or the wanting, or like,
Yeah.
yeah, always, it's always happens. So I guess, yeah.
But I think it's not. I feel like it's
Important.
not. Yeah, I think what you said. I feel like you have to come to a point where it's not like the need. Like you have to find a way to be content, because as we've discussed, like you want extra. I don't think it's necessarily like the extra that you add on. I feel like just finding a way to kind of be content and be in alignment. I don't know if content is the right. I don't know what the right word is, but like you have to be in alignment
Hmm.
such that if the other thing comes on, it's a bonus. Like, like if I get a wig, it's a bonus. Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
one
I
thing I was thinking.
mean, I think that's what I was trying to say, because like
Oh, okay.
you can be content, and still want something more, which doesn't negate your contentment in the first
Yes.
place. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you
Yeah,
mean. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
exactly.
Like,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
But you were
Yeah.
gonna say something. Sorry.
No, no, no. Because I misunderstood, so I was gonna add. It's like I was gonna say because I had misunderstood. It's like, how you wear a dress, the dress make you look beautiful, and then you go and remove that dress, you're like, hey, So yeah,
Hmm.
but that was if that statement held true. Yeah, you wear that wig, you look beautiful, but you remove it, and then that hair
Exactly.
is doing me like a leg. So yeah, but I think to end it, I would say, yeah, I think, yeah, beauty is just going inward and truly understanding and creating your own beauty for yourself and being in alignment with that. And then you can still strive for more. We are talking about like how like you get to a certain age, you're like, oh yeah, I'm done. Like, life has ended. You're not gonna take care of your body anymore. You're not gonna take about like you can still do more and still be like, happy
Hmm.
with what you have and like growth, like, so yeah, so that I think, yeah, and then taking that space, and to do that you have to take that space to like a moment, like actually plan to reflect. And then kind of once you understand like what
Mm-hmm.
is driving, then you can actually take actions that are informed by people who are knowledgeable to do something about it. And that does not mean like, it's like we are I don't want it to be like, oh, like, like everybody's not like at where they want to be and everybody's like has to find a way to reach it. But
Exactly.
that is the case, then so.
Mm-hmm.
But then it doesn't have to be, could be like, one way or the other or a zero. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What do you think, Umo? What are your
Yeah, I
last
mean,
words?
yeah, my last one would be, as I always say about life, this topic also about beauty is a journey, and it's the journey is not about the destination, it's about the way to the destination. And yeah, and you basically have to make the most out of that journey, because you don't want to waste your time trying to reach that end. And through after years, I don't know, obviously we're saying like age doesn't count, but you end up being 50, 60, you're like, oh my god, when I was 25, I wished I found I thought of myself as beautiful, or I wish I did what I wanted to do, or I don't know, like I enjoyed that
Yes,
moment, because
yes. Because we're always so
like
self-critical.
all we have is today. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah.
No, I was just saying
No, no, no,
yes.
go.
Because it's like we are always so self-critical. And then like you get to another stage and you're like, I wish I'd spent more time enjoying this. So you are right, like actually enjoying and like
Hmm.
kind of celebrating. Like, me, I'm gonna wear that
Hmm.
crop top. You'll see. I mean, just things that you
Yes,
do that you feel like
exactly.
you can't do because you are not meeting like, whatever. So yeah. Thank you, Umo. I think that's a good
Yeah, I
conclusion.
mean, Nike will say, just do it. Like, what you want to wear a crop, just do it. You want to
Yeah.
leave your hair out because it's how you feel just do it, because like what is stopping you? You don't want to. Again, I rather regret things that I have done than things that I didn't do, especially
Like,
when like time is going on and you don't know tomorrow. All we have is today. That's what I was trying to end with. Like, all we have is today. We don't have tomorrow. I mean, we have plans for tomorrow, but we don't have it.
yeah,
And
but
today
it's
you
not
make the
guaranteed.
most out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly, because and then the past, if you keep dwelling on the past, you never enjoy today. So the past is past. Oh my god, like I find pictures of myself when I was in high school. Oh my god, I used to be skinny. I wish I can go back. No, no, no. Don't
Yeah,
wish you can
right.
go back. Wish you can, like forward. Why do you want to go back? I mean, but
And
you
you
know what I
can't go
mean. So yeah,
back.
basically, and why do you want to go back? It's already past. You have so much
Yes.
future in front of you. Take that. Leave the past. But yeah, yeah. In conclusion, life is a journey. Beauty is a journey, and it's a beautiful journey, especially in this adulting journey that we are.
Wow. Yeah, and yeah, so thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, and as always, take it with a grain of salt. This is our perspective. And yeah, we hope to see you in our other episodes. And if you're interested in any of the other conversations we've had, from romance to
Adulting,
adulting,
um,
yes,
and now with beauty, social media.
social
Yes.
media, like how to be like, what would you be like if you're a choose on social media? Can always check those out. And if you have anything you'd like us to kind of talk about, too, feel free to put it in the comments. Yeah, so thank you for sharing your time with us. We are grateful and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day beautifully. Bye bye.
Bye.